here from Plans Meet Paper, and today I'm here to film a Plan With Me video for the week of February 4th through February 10th, 2019. And I'm here in my personal size Filofax planner. This is a Filofax Finsbury in the color black. And I do have a setup video for how I've got it all set up for this year. So definitely check that out if you're interested. I will put a link to it down below. But this week, I'm just going to be focusing on my weekly layout and kind of showing you my process for how I plan my week. I am using a layout that is a little bit new to me still. I've been using it for, I don't know, about 2 months, but it still feels new to me because I was so used to my other layout before that. So I'm using a week on one page, and it's horizontal, laid out here on the left side of the page. And then on the right side of the page, I just have blank lined paper where I can write out my to-dos and notes for the whole week that are not date specific. So I'll show you a couple layouts of what this has looked like in the past when I've got it all filled out. So here's an example. That was last week. And then this is this current week. This week's a little funky. I was between months. So the first half of the week it was January and the second half of the week was February. So I decided to use 2 different color highlighters to kind of mark that. And I've got my monthly tracker here in the middle as well, which I'll be moving once I plan after this video. So this is the layout I'm going to be using, and I'm going to go ahead and take these pages out of my planner and then set them down on this piece of scrapbook paper. I just prefer to write on top of another sheet of paper instead of directly on wood. So you can see that so far all that I've done is gone through and written in the dates for each day of the week. And then I did actually write in an appointment that I have coming up this next week, and I just labeled to do. I had done this previously, kind of dated out a few weeks, and so I had already written those things in, but I figured I'd go ahead and jump in and talk through my planning process anyways. This is often how my week looks before I actually sit down and plan it out. I do forward plan. I don't really worry about, waiting and having a totally blank week before I start. That's just not really my style. I use my planner super functionally. So if I want to write down an appointment in advance to make sure that I don't forget about it, I just go ahead and do it. And I don't really worry about if I have the perfect pen or highlighter or anything like that right in the moment. I just go ahead and jot it down. I do almost always use friction pens in my planner. This is a Friction Ball Slim. It is the 0.38 tip, so it's super fine tip, and it is in black. And because I use friction pens pretty much all the time, if I needed to erase that appointment, if something changed, I definitely could. But that one is still set, so I'm gonna go ahead and just leave it. But the process that I use when I'm planning my week is I usually take a look at my previous week and I look and see if I had any appointments that got moved or rescheduled, or if I have any to-dos that I did not get done that needed to be migrated to the next week. And I'll go ahead and do that first. That would be the first step. And then second step, kind of along at the same time as that, is I go to my monthly view. So this is my monthly view for February. I'll take my divider out here. This is my monthly view for February. I did go ahead and lay it out just the other day here, since it's the beginning of the month. And even though it's Valentine's Day in February, I went with a navy blue and gray theme because for those of you who may be new to my channel, my baby boy is due this month, and those are the colors that I decorated his room in. So I'm just super excited. This is baby month, where we made it, and I wanted to go ahead and kind of decorate to celebrate that. So those are the colors that I chose for this month. And I've been trying out a new thing this year where I actually use that same highlighter color and kind of accent colors all throughout the month. I use it every week. So for January, I used blue. You can kind of see here's several weeks laid out in blue. And I really liked that. It kind of gave it a little bit of continuity, and it just simplified it for me. I didn't have to decide on a color every week. I just used the same color. I just decide once a month, and then I'm kind of set for the next several weeks. I'm gonna be using that gray highlighter in my supplies this week. This is a gray mild liner, and that's gonna be my highlighter for the whole month of February. And then I also have a few kind of accent stickers that I'm using functionally as well that I'm gonna be using. So I have the Martha Stewart Dewdrops, and I'm gonna be using a gray dewdrop in my layout this week. You'll see that. And then these are actually Avery labels. They're the Avery, let's see, 5418. That's the template number. And I print colors on top of these labels and use them in my planner sometimes. I do have a video showing how I print colors on top of those, so I'll put that in the description box down below as well in case you wanted to check that out. But I'm gonna be using some of those navy blue Avery labels as well in my week. So those are the supplies I'm gonna be using, and first thing I'm gonna do is just go in and write my appointments down, and also write down any to-dos that need to get done this week. Those come straight from my monthly layout or from last week's layout. So those are all of my day-specific events and to-dos. I do have a lot of things that I made fairly day-specific for next week because I do have company arriving at the end of the week. My mom is coming in, and so I want to make sure I get some of these things done before then. I also have some specific videos and things that I planned out days for this time. I don't always do that. Sometimes I consider those to be more week specific instead of day specific, but I've got those laid out first. The next thing that I do is on the right side of the page on my lined paper, I go through and I write my non-day specific to-dos. So these are things that can get done at any point throughout the week, or sometimes they're also kind of more specific notes breaking down one of these bigger tasks. So for instance, I'm gonna try to get some zone cleaning done on Thursday next week. And you'll see me break that down a little bit farther here on the left side of the page, or excuse me, on the right side of the page about what zone tasks I wanna get done during that time on Thursday. So I'm gonna go ahead and write down the things that I just need to migrate over from my monthly or weekly view first. And then anything that needs a little bit more explanation, I will pop in and tell you about. So I am going to break down my zone cleaning a little bit more. And the way that I do that is I'm not really doing any specific zone per week this year. I'm trying it out a little bit more flexibly. My Fly Lady plan, or I guess it's definitely an adaptation of how the Fly Lady does it, my version. But basically what I do is I've got these zone cleaning trackers here in my planner in my home section. And I go through and I check off what I get done in each zone each month. I worked really hard in January to get every single zone cleaning task done because I'm trying to get ready for my baby who's coming home sometime in February. So I know I definitely will not get done all of these tasks again in February, and some of them probably don't even necessarily need to be done again in February. But what I want to do is throughout the year, I'm just going to go through and each week choose the tasks that I think need the most attention that week. and just plan them out on my weekly layout. And then this will just be my place where I can keep track of which months I actually got everything done. So once they're actually officially completed, I'll check them off for the month. So I'm just gonna take a look through here and see which one of these things needs to be done again in February, just this first week or two of February before my baby is born. Acknowledging that probably after that, no zone cleaning will get done for the rest of the month since I will be a little busy. So I am gonna focus this week mostly on zone 1 and zone 2. That's the kitchen and the living room, because those are the spaces that the guests that are gonna be coming into town are gonna be in the most when they're here to see the baby. So I want to just touch those up a little bit more this week before they come into town. So I'm going to go through and pick out which ones of these tasks I am going to accomplish on Thursday and then add them to my weekly layout. And I'm going to use these Avery labels to kind of use as a header for the zones. The nice thing about the Avery labels and also the Martha Stewart dewdrops is they're repositionable. So I can move these from week to week really easily. If I do end up doing more zone cleaning later in the month and I want to do more in zone 1, I can just pick that sticker up off of my weekly layout, write it in pen since it'll be in the past, and then just use that sticker in a future week, which I've definitely done in the past. So I really like those repositionable stickers for that purpose. So there's my zone cleaning tasks that I'm going to focus on the most this week in zone 1 and zone 2. And I did also use my Brother P-Touch label maker to stick the zones on those labels. So this is the label maker that I have. Like I said, it's called a Brother P-Touch. And I really like it. I'm a huge nerd when it comes to labels. I love labeling things. So I just printed those off on clear label tape and then I stuck it on top of the Avery label. So that's my zone cleaning. And the other tasks that I know I want to focus on and get done next week are project related. So for those, I flip to my project section and I just go through to whichever projects that I'm currently working on. And I choose the tasks that I want to try to accomplish this week from my project task list. So again, it's just kind of laying it out for this specific week. What tasks can I pull off of that big to-do list to focus on for this smaller chunk of time? So I hope that makes sense. And that's what I'm going to do for the next couple of to-dos. Alright, so there are all of my big to-dos and appointments for next week. And then what I'm going to do is just go through and highlight my headings with my gray mild liner. And then I also highlight any appointments or events that are, a little bit bigger that I really want to stand out and make sure I don't forget them or make sure that I show up earlier on time for them. So I'm going to do that as well. Lastly, I'm also going to put on this Martha Stewart dewdrop. I'm just going to stick it here in the corner of the page. This is just a general reminder for me for the whole week, and I'm going to be moving it throughout my month. It says update spending. Again, I used my label maker to print that label on top of the sticker. and I just really want to get better about updating my spending tracker for groceries and just everyday expenses. And so that's just my reminder to myself at the end of each day. As I'm planning for the next day, I need to go through and update my spending tracker. So there's my week all laid out for the week of February 4th through February 10th. Each day throughout the week, I'm also most likely going to be using a daily page. And right now, the kind of daily layout that I've been using is this really simple layout. It's just a 2-column layout. It doesn't have any other text on it. It is lined. And I love the flexibility of this layout because I can use it all throughout my planner for a bunch of different things, for lists. But next week I will also use it as my daily pages throughout the week. So typically what I'll do for that, I'm just gonna set up Monday and Tuesday so far, and then I'll set up the rest of the week as I go. But as per usual, I just write in my day of the week at the top. And again, I'm gonna write it in cursive, so it's a little bit of a different type of writing for the heading. And then the night before, Monday and Tuesday, I'm just gonna go through and break down my events and appointments and big tasks and kind of break them down. Sometimes I'll write out a schedule if I feel like the day is going to be super hectic, and a schedule will help me. I'll actually put in times. Other times I'll just break it down into smaller tasks and add in things that I maybe, things that I wouldn't write on a weekly layout, but sometimes they're helpful just to be able to check something off and kind of keep me on task throughout the day. I do also use my highlighter to highlight the headings for those days. And then this month so far and last month, I have also been keeping my monthly tracker here in the middle of my week. So I'll either put it right here in front of my daily page, or I'll put it behind my daily page. But I keep it in the middle of my week because all week long I'm constantly flipping through these pages. I'm looking at my weekly layout, I'm looking at my dailies, and I'm looking at my weekly to-do list. And so I find that keeping this monthly tracking page right in the middle of that week really keeps it in the front of my attention, and it helps me so much to focus on the habits that I want to work on throughout the month. That's where I track. What I track here on the front is all of my habits, and then on the back I put my goals and intentions for the month and my big to-dos for the month. And so again, it keeps those things kind of front and center in my mind. What am I focusing on? What do I need to get done? And that way I don't kind of let those fade away because I don't necessarily look at my monthly view every single day, but I do look at my weekly and daily view every day. So I hope that makes sense. I'll go ahead and put these pages back in my planner and give you one more look at what my week looks like for next week. All right, so on a daily basis, I will be flipping to this layout. I'll be using my week on one page and then my day. It's actually 2 days per page, so it's kind of a half day daily. And I'll be using that each day throughout the week. I'll also be using my monthly habit tracker. And so that's going to be right here in the middle for easy access. And then lastly, I've got my weekly to-dos and reminders and notes here on the other side. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed seeing how I lay out my week, kind of what my planning process is using my different layout for 2019. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to put those down in the box below, and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks so much for watching. As always, click like and subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys again soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.